I believe the primary objective of the attacks against me is simply to try and blunten my edge. That's what they want to do. They didn't want to put me, well, they wanted to put me in jail. They knew they probably wouldn't be able to. They want me to say sorry. They want me to bend. They want me to break. Because everybody else who was a cultural force in some degree in the modern times has bent or broken. I mean, you look at Peterson. He ended up a drug addict and he lost his brand and all these things are happening. If I would have just stood up and cried and said, I'm sorry from the Romanian prison, all of this would have been over. That's all they want me to do is destroy my own brand. They want me to calm down and shut up and sit down. And, you know, I get so much satisfaction from being annoying to my enemies that I refuse. I'm as stubborn as they come. And I'm going to talk the way I want to talk. And I'm going to say the things I think the way I think them. And I guess it is a side effect of success. Because we talked about how saying things obnoxiously is masculine. It's actually a sign of success where people talk about you money. But you can have a you personality and a you attitude. I don't need anybody to really like me. And I don't need anybody to talk to me. And I don't need to talk to anybody. So I have this, I'm very open and honest about the way I think about things. And I say them exactly how I think them. And sometimes if they aggravate or antagonize people, I enjoy that because it allows me to read their emotional leakage or get a read on them as an individual. If I meet somebody and I sit down and I say something and they lose their mind, well, then I know they're an idiot. Like you don't even, this is the first time you've ever met me. How can my words control your emotionality to the point where you're now genuinely upset? You're an idiot. If I sat down with somebody and they said something racist to me or something horrible to me, or they said I was a human trafficker, I couldn't care less. It doesn't matter to me because I don't see their opinion as important. But when I sit down with people and I say something which is not only true, usually hilarious, and people lose their mind, well, then I just know they're clowns. Because that is the primary objective of the Matrix in the first place, is to elicit emotional leakage and emotional attention from people who have no vested interest in the subject at all. I mean, they can get people who are emotionally riled up over subjects they don't even understand or know. This happened recently with the Houthis. It was funny. Before Trump started bombing the Houthis, I noticed the news was talking about the Houthis all the time. We have to get the Houthis, the Houthis, the Houthis. And everyone's walking around going, yeah, we have to get the Houthis. I'm like, you didn't even know who the Houthis were 3 days ago. You didn't even know where Yemen is. But they could just make you dislike these people so they can murder them en masse. How do they do that? Because they can emotionally affect you. I can't be emotionally affected. So why do I talk the way I talk? Well, if I walk in a room and I say something and 7 people end up emotionally affected, well, then I know they're dipshits. I'm trying very hard at my stage in life to avoid dipshits. So I don't really see any of the negative from speaking the way I speak because I don't really need to be liked. I wouldn't be this way in corporate because I couldn't, but I don't need to be in corporate. So I'm okay, you know? So I guess it's just a life decision I've made. We talk about, I don't want to swear in front of a woman, but F you money. It's an F you personality. This is what I think. This is how I say it. If you don't like it and you don't talk to me, you lose. I don't lose anything. You lose. So I guess that's how I go around and that's how I speak. So society as a whole, and although the Matrix is evil, in many ways it is necessary, but society as a whole has to be controlled and constrained. And we have all these different people with all these different ideas, many of different races and religions, different upbringings, different versions of history. And we're all living in very close proximity to one another. And this is a relatively new thing, right? We were in clans where we understood each other completely because we were familiar or we had the same version of history, the same stories we were raised on. Even in the 80s and 90s, even when I went to school, I'm an old man now, but when I went to school, everyone talked about the TV show the night before. Everyone watched the same TV show that day. All the kids did. At the same time.
Show.
That's right.
I was part of that.
That's right. But now there's Netflix and the internet. I'm sure none of that exists anymore. So we're not bound together by anything.
Right.
So the Matrix is a false version of reality, which they're constantly purporting into the population, trying to keep everything together, trying to keep all of these different people with all these different ideas functioning as a cohesive society. And different countries attempt it in different ways. But effectively in the West, what they've decided to do is just endlessly lie to us. And the version of reality and the version of history, especially, that we've been told is a lie. The institutions that we're told to believe in are corrupt. The education system is corrupt. The medical system is corrupt. The judicial system is corrupt. You name a system, it's corrupted. All of them are. And we're told inside of the
democracy's a scam as well.
Well, democracy's corrupt. The electoral system's definitely corrupt. So we're told that. Yeah, we're told go to school, work hard, get a degree, you'll get a job, you'll end up rich, save for your 401k, don't worry about your pension, you're going to own your home one day, vote for your candidate, it really matters, and you're going to be a happy citizen. And it turns out every single part of that is a lie. And that is the Matrix. And the reason I call it that is because of the movie. In the movie, that Neo is living in a false version of reality, which is very separate and different than the real reality, just to keep him placated so that his body heat can be harnessed by the machines. And that's effectively what the governments of the West are trying to do now. They want you to pay taxes, you need to work, and they want to keep your mind distracted and placated enough for you to continue to pay taxes, even though your cost of living keeps going up, your living standard keeps going down, crime keeps going up, you can't let your kids play outside, you're miserable, the traffic and the commute is getting worse day by day, your life is degrading in real time, your only chance to get out of it is to get rich, you can't, and you're stuck. So they have to broadcast enough garbage into your brain that you get distracted by TikTok and being stupid enough to pay $700 to go watch Taylor Swift standing up and down. This is the thing, though. It's true. That is the Matrix. You want to ask me? Let me answer the question. What's the Matrix? A concert is the Matrix. Look at these people screaming, jumping up and down, looking at an artist they've already heard the song from 50,000 times, idolizing this person like they're Jesus. And they can't even pay their own bills. That's the Matrix in a nutshell. Those are the people who have been completely psyoped by the slave mind. You are allowing yourself to be distracted with bread and circus garbage as your actual life and the things that matter crumble around you. Well, first you have to be aware of it. That's the first thing. And the second thing is not everybody can escape. And when I said earlier about the Matrix, how it is evil, but it is necessary, if everybody understood what's going on, then there'd be a new version of society. And would that new version of society be better? I don't know, because it'd be very chaotic. You'd have to find something else, something new to bind everybody. Perhaps we could come up with something which was more based on integrity and truth. That's a good idea, but ideas and application are not often the same. So when I speak and I say these things, I think 1 in every 10,000 people understand me. And I hope the other 9,999 don't understand me, to be honest with you. Because for there to be winners, there has to be losers. I like that the Matrix exists as long as I'm not in it. I want to be outside of it. You know, it's fine. I like that they inflate the currency because I own a bunch of real estate. It's fine to me. I win. But if you want to win, you got to escape it. And I think the way to do that is different for men and women, to be honest. I can only talk from the masculine perspective because the masculine perspective is the only one I know because I'm a man. But in the world today as a man, and this kind of ties back into what you were saying earlier about standing out from the crowd, it is far more difficult to achieve a genuinely unique status than it's ever been, because money alone doesn't work anymore. We live in Dubai. Who doesn't have a Lambo? Who cares? Who doesn't have money? Who cares? Right? So you can't just have money. You need to have money and charisma and intellect and wisdom. And you need to be smart. You need to be brave.
And physically fit.
And physically fit, in good shape. You have to add all these things together. And then you need status. You need clout. You need to add all of this up. And it's getting harder and harder for men to break through to that 1%. And the true answer to all of these things is you need to be prepared to take risks and suffer the pain of failing, because you're not going to win every single time.
Do you think it's easy to win with the quality of people competing against each other now?
It was easy for me. I think it is easy for winners to win. Yeah, that's true. I think it's easy to make money. But in the world today, I see a lot of people who make money and think that's enough. They still think it's the 1995 or something where you could have money and that you're somehow somebody.
Do you think it matters how you make the money?
It's a really good question. I'm going to answer that by talking about my own personal story where I made money in a you could argue, morally, you could say it was wrong. I mean, illegal, no. Moral, again, you could argue back and forth about it, but I'm not going to do that. But I would say that there is a karmic retribution in the universe. And if you take dirty money, you're going to pay the price for it one way or another. I think if you scam somebody, you pay the price for that. I think if you rug pull crypto coins, you pay the price for that. I like to believe the universe is fairly balanced. And I like to believe that everybody gets what they deserve, both the good and the bad. And I like to believe that I deserve all of the amazing things I have, and I deserve all of the bad things that happen to me. And that's probably me optimizing my mind for competency and the capability to deal with things. Because if something bad happens to me and I believe I deserve it, it's much easier than going, oh, poor me. I don't have a victim mindset. So when bad things happen to me, I'm like, okay, well, I didn't realize that I cut someone off in traffic 3 weeks ago. And that delay caused them to miss the birth of their child. So I deserve this.
You deserve to be in Romania.
I deserve to be in Romanian jail. That's just how I optimize my mindset. So I never feel sorry for myself. And I think the reason I do that is because it allows me to handle things easier. But the reason now in the current position I'm in where I could rake in $300 million in a week if I want to scam people. I won't do it because I believe that you'll pay the price for that. And I'm not talking about pay the price legally. I'm talking about paying the price cosmically, universally. I think things all balance out in the end. So by extension, to answer the earlier question about is it easy to win, I think that every single person watching this has exactly what they deserve. I think everything good in your life, you deserve it. Everything bad in your life, you deserve it. If you're important and famous, you deserve that. If you don't deserve it. You have exactly what you deserve. Where you are and who you are is what you should be. And if you wanted to be something else, you would be something else.